I'll just quickly go through a little bit of my experience and some stuff that I'm doing today to get through it, because although it has been 10 years, sadly it doesn't get any easier, but it does become easier to deal with and understand. So like I mentioned, my journey started about 10 years ago, and it was similar to other stories I've heard. Mine was very quick. I actually have 2 mutations, and they're both extremely rare. There's only, from what I know, 1 or 2 other people that have each of the others, but not both together. So I have mutation 4745 and mutation 3197. Because of this, a lot of doctors respond with, I don't know, to so many different questions, even 10 years later. But basically, for me, it started on, in the summer. I had returned from vacation down south with a girlfriend from Dominican, and I could remember sitting in the backyard just looking up at the clouds and not being able to make out the fluffiness of the clouds and seeing a bunch of sparkles, and just thinking to myself, like, I was just exposed to too much sunlight and didn't think anything of it. A month later, I'd be starting my last year of university in my specialized degree. So I just kind of let it go until I bought my first textbook. I opened it up and realized I couldn't quite read the tiny font, but although I could still see far, I couldn't read font. So it wasn't making sense to me, and at the time that I noticed it, I was with a friend that was actually wearing glasses, and he's like, here, just put on my glasses and you'll be fine, like just see what you could see. And I put them on, knowing he had a very strong prescription, and I still couldn't see anything. And I looked up at him and I was like, okay, so now I'm getting worried. I can't see anything. So the next day I went to an optometrist who, from all the tests he ran, couldn't figure out anything either. And he said, I'm gonna send you to an ophthalmologist right away down the street. I'll just call her and let her know you're coming. I went to her. She ran a bunch of tests. She stared at me for quite some time, kind of puzzled, not really knowing what to tell me or what was going on. At the time, I was with my sister because I could no longer drive. I was 21, but safely to say, I left the car at home. And I just remember vividly that the ophthalmologist wrote a letter and said, you know, I'm sorry, I can't help you, but you're gonna need to go to the hospital, like right now. And she's like, I'm gonna write a bunch of stuff down in this letter, just take it with you and go to emergency, give it to them. She wouldn't tell me what was in this letter. She wouldn't even tell my sister. She just said, let them open it when you get to the hospital. My sister kind of panicked. She's about 6 years older than me. We live in Toronto. We were speeding to the hospital, Sunnybrook Hospital. We got pulled over by cops for going like 40 over the limit. My sister, like, I was wearing sunglasses. I was teary-eyed from all the drops they had put in to dilate my pupils. My sister was explaining to the cop, I don't know what's going on with my sister. I just need to go get her to the hospital. Here's this letter. Some doctor just wrote her. Can we please, like, go and not give us a ticket? He read the letter, and he actually told us, follow me, I'm gonna get you there, like, ASAP. So now we were even more freaked out, like, what is happening? This cop is taking us to the hospital. We were bypassing red lights, stop signs, you name it. We get there, immediately we're seeing, we bypass triage. Now I'm freaking out even more. We see a neurologist right away. Within like half an hour, I'm like through all these different doors. And he's like, we're gonna do a lengthy MRI. We're gonna put you to sleep because it's gonna be about 2 to 3 hour MRI. We wanna scan your whole body. I'm like, oh my God, can somebody tell me what's in this letter? And then they told me, we think you have a possible brain tumor. And I, at 21, didn't know what to think. My sister's crying. At this point, my parents have not heard from us yet, because this had all happened within a matter of 2 hours. We call home. My parents are, midway through the day at work. They couldn't really leave what was going on, but they said, by the time she's done her test, like, we'll be there, keep us posted. So I went through this MRI, first of probably 6 or 7. and everything came back perfect. So, a bunch of tests kept going on for about a week. They thought I had MS, they thought I had cancer. I can't even explain what different tests I had to do. Long story short, it took them about 2 years to finally diagnose me with LHON. So you can imagine in 2 years, the amount of tests, doctors, specialists, you name it, I saw. They rewinding again at the hospital, they even thought maybe I was high. Like they thought, this university girl, 21 years old, maybe she's like partying at frat houses. Like, what's going on? Like, she's telling us she can't see, but all the test results keep coming back fine. I had explained, like, I'm not drinking, I've never smoked, like, this is what I've been seeing the last few days, and they had no answers for me. And they didn't have answers for quite some time until the head of neurology at Sunnybrook finally spoke up and said, look, we don't have any answers, so we're gonna send you to a neuromuscular specialist at McMaster University, who's a professor, and he's like the house of I don't know if anybody watches that TV show House. He's house. He will figure this out because we can't. It's been over a year. We just can't. So thankfully, Dr. Mark Tanapovsky and his crew were on it right away. They did a bunch of different muscle biopsies, and the one that was sent to his lab, so a piece of my muscle was sent to 3 different labs. The one at his lab found the first mutation. And they said, okay, we finally found something. We can diagnose you with LHON, and that was about 2 years after the fact. So after that, I just kept doing, yearly testing just to make sure everything was okay, I guess. And because it was so new, they had signed me up for like every research project in the book. There's actually a research project, or a paper that was written from Sunnybrook in my name. Somehow it got published because of how rare it was. So it was really interesting going through this. At the time, also not understanding what was going on. No one in my family had it. I was a very rare mutation. I didn't have anybody to turn to for answers, including doctors. They didn't have answers. Everything was really stressful leading up to it. Knowing I was legally blind, but not knowing what caused it, being so young, being in my last year of university, I put a 6-month hold on my university program, went back within the same year, graduated with a specialized honors degree in communications, and then started working for nonprofits, knowing that I wanted to support communities that were struggling or disabled, and wanting to help people in that way. So fast forward 10 years, I still love, supporting people with vision loss, supporting people who have a disability, and I still work in the nonprofit world. I am a full-time marketing and communications specialist. I also run my own blog. I started my own blog about 2 years ago, and its focus is on wellness, because one of the most important things I learned throughout this whole experience was that you really need to take a holistic approach to your life. You can't just be, Faye the blind girl. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's Faye first, blind second. And in order to live like a quote unquote healthy life, you need to be able to look at all aspects of your life, including, your mental health, your physical health, what you're eating, how you're, going about your daily life in order to be to feel whole. At least that's for me. So I started this blog in order to kind of, share with other people my experiences, some of the things that made me feel good. And one of the highlights was food. I figured everybody loves food. Everybody likes talking about food. And if I'm going to live this, holistic and well-inspired life, I want to be able to eat healthy food. So I started becoming a part of all these different food groups online, and meeting with, chatting with different people that had disabilities, but also had this love for food and cooking. And I got to meet so many different people. And one of the most recent things I did was a podcast on how to do things in the kitchen being legally blind. So, how to work a stove, how to fry something, how to boil something without boiling your hand off. So it's been a really great experience for me, and I've met a lot of different people. But just going back to this whole thing of connecting with people online and fostering online communities, I remember when I had first gone legally blind, there wasn't a Facebook group, there wasn't a LHON website, there wasn't those online support groups to turn to. And so when I finally did find the LHON Facebook group, I remember when I had joined it, it was only like 50 people. So you can imagine how much it's grown over the years and how much we're able to support each other. And I remember one day my mom in the evening turning to me saying, and this was probably about just when I had been diagnosed, turning to me and being like, I just saw this boy on the TV. I think he's, from America, and he's in this golf tournament, and he's just phenomenal. And I was like, I think I know who that is. And I was like, was his mom on TV? Is his mom Lisa? And my mom was like, I don't know. I think his name's Jeremy. I was like, yes, I've seen him before on the Facebook group. And I just felt so connected. And I feel like that was one of the first people, even though I didn't know him personally, I felt so connected to him and his family through this online community, just because we had LHON and it was so rare. And knowing that now we're here as a group together in this room, we're sharing this experience. And some of us have been here, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, 10 years. And others, are so fresh, like newly diagnosed this month. But we have each other. Like, I wish I had that 10 years ago. And this is something very special that we shouldn't take advantage of. And so if there is a moment where, you do feel you need help, you need support, you're not getting that at home because people don't quite understand, and they're asking you questions, and you're asking the doctor questions, and nobody has answers, know that now, like today, you actually have people to turn to. And that's something phenomenal, and I'm just personally so grateful for. And yeah, I'm just gonna end it on that positive note, because I think if there's one thing you can leave here today, I know this morning it was very valuable information. It was kind of dense, hard to hear it all in 2 hours, right? Like, it's so informative, but it's amazing. But if there's one thing to leave here with today is knowing that you are not alone. You have support, whether it's from a stranger that has LHON or a family member that has LHON. Just speak up and let people know what's on your mind. Because bottling it up, especially if this is something new, it doesn't help, and it just leads to so many other questions, and it leads to so many other insecurities. And especially for the younger folks, like when I was diagnosed at 21, yes, now I'm 31, whatever, 10 years, not much, has changed too much, but like at 21, like I didn't even know what was going on with my life, let alone my health. I didn't know what was going on the next, like tomorrow. So just trying to build your own support system and becoming an advocate for yourself is so important. I'm fortunate enough to have had, a boyfriend that was there for me, like through everything, proposing to me a year into my like health journey of LHON, and then us getting married so quickly. We bonded so well over this, and I feel like I have so many things to be grateful for because of LHON, whether it's my job today, my relationship with, my husband, my relationship with my friends. It's made everything stronger. So please, like, know that it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of whatever you're trying to do. It's just finding a different way to do it. And the people that care will be there for you through everything. And if you need to find me online, I'm on everything: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever else, what other, yeah, it's like an old one, but it's a goodie, oldie but a goodie. So you can find me at Fay Nights or at wellnessfirst.net. So that's my website, wellnessfirst.net. You'll find a lot of food stuff on there, healthy food stuff, wellness related things. So I talk about technology, like health overall. But yeah, you're welcome to reach out to me anytime if you need a friend or just to chat. By all means, private message me on any of those social media channels.
Thank you.